I'm much less of a climate alarmist than people might think. Germany should not only not shut down the nuclear power plants, it should reopen the ones that shut down. I want to be clear. Total madness. I would say this is a national security risk. Listen, playtime is over. Okay, obviously, playtime is over. I think people don't understand, like, coal power plants, because of their emissions, they cause a certain number of deaths every year, far more dangerous than nuclear power plants. And sometimes people say, oh, well, it's cloudy or something, what about solar? And it's like, do plants grow? They're a solar-powered chemical reaction. If plants grow, you have solar power, obviously. How do you think they grow? If I go bankrupt, fine, whatever. I don't care. I think religious extremism is a concern. And unfortunately, we have these, ridiculous population estimates from the UN that need to be updated because they just don't make any sense. I mean, the rate of advancement of AI is very rapid. Even if Tesla stopped doing AI, I think we're still on a track to develop artificial general intelligence, meaning intelligence smarter than the smartest human. Yeah, I mean, Optimus is a general purpose sort of worker droid. Money is a database. Money doesn't have power in and of itself. You can run the thought experiment of if you're trapped on a remote island, shipwrecked on an island, and you've got $1 trillion in a Swiss bank account. It's worthless. You'd rather have a can of soup.
Could you imagine that one day we would be able to download our human brain capacity into a Optimus?
Yes, it is possible, I think, to do that. The truth is, most people don't change their mind; they just die. And so, if they don't die, they will be stuck with old ideas, and society won't advance. I think we already have quite a serious issue with the gerontocracy, but I'm not afraid of dying. I think it will come as a relief.
In this video, I've taken one for the team and painstakingly put together a supercut of a recent Elon Musk interview that seems to have flown under the radar. I've cut out the silences, most of the ums and ahs, and just got to the meat and bones of everything that was said. Topics include books, learning from history, warfare, energy independence, nuclear energy, AI, robotics, what money really is, uploading/backing up our consciousness, Starship Earth-to-Earth transport, longevity, risk-taking, Elon's popularity, Elon's most important priorities, freedom, Elon's biggest fear and biggest hope, religious extremism, being alone, love, and more. If you appreciate this video, you can support the channel by joining Patreon with the link in the pinned comment. There's also some merch designs available below this video. Let's get into it.
That your knowledge can be used in order to make a difference in conventional warfare or in the warfare of the future, which is AI.
I think I can be helpful in conflict. I try to take the set of actions that are most likely to improve the probability that the future will be good. And so obviously sometimes I make mistakes in this regard, so it's not like I always get it right, but I aspire to get it right. And so whatever, I think is most likely to ensure that the future is good for, all of humanity, that's the actions that I will take. Well, I read a lot of books, and for some reason I'm fascinated by war and history in general. It's just really interesting to I think read about history. Learn the lessons of history such that we do not repeat the mistakes of the past.
Strategic mistakes that Europe, particularly Germany, has made. The dropout of nuclear energy.
Actually, can I just say, I think it's very important that Germany not shut down its nuclear power stations. I think this is extremely crazy.
I just wanted to ask a question on that, because if we really want to reduce Putin's power and Europeans and Germany's dependence on Russian energy, this works only through decarbonization. So my question to you is, should we have even more nuclear energy in order to get faster independent from Putin and to resolve the climate issues?
I want to be super clear. In my opinion, Germany should not only not shut down the nuclear power plants, it should reopen the ones that shut down. And those are the fastest ones to restart. It's crazy to shut down nuclear power plants, especially if you're in a place where there's not natural disasters. So if you're maybe somewhere where there's severe earthquakes or tsunamis or something like that, it's more, of a question mark. But if there's not massive natural disaster risk, which Germany does not have, then there's really no danger with the nuclear power plant. I think long term, most of civilization's energy is going to come from solar, and then you need to store it with a battery. Because obviously the sun only shines during the day, and sometimes it's very cloudy. So you need solar batteries will be the main long-term way that civilization is powered. But between now and then, we need to maintain nuclear. I can't emphasize enough, please do not shut down the nuclear power plants, and please reopen the ones that have been shut. This is total madness to shut them down. I want to be clear. Total madness.
Let's see whether your very clear words are heard in Europe
I'm
and
trying to
have
use
consequences in Germany.
I'm trying to use the strongest words.
Yeah.
I would say this is a national security risk. It's not like, listen, playtime is over. Okay, obviously, playtime is over. This is a national security. It's a national security risk to shut these things down.
It's another bitter lesson of that war. It is not only an issue with regard to climate. It is very much an issue.
It's a national security risk, and it's a climate issue. For replacing. I think people don't understand. Like coal power plants, because of their emissions, they cause a certain number of deaths every year. Far more dangerous than nuclear power plants. And that sustainable energy economy is going to be like I said, primarily solar with wind. You absolutely need stationary storage batteries because of the intermittency of solar and wind. And then there will also be hydroelectric, geothermal, nuclear. These are all fine. And the carbon, but we want to just move as quickly as we can to a sort of a solar electric economy. And sometimes people say, oh well, it's cloudy or something. What about solar? And it's like, do plants grow? They're a solar-powered chemical reaction. If plants grow, you have solar power, obviously. How do you think they grow? But I'm much less of a climate alarmist than people might think. Although, of course, my words are taken, sometimes always amplified.
So your bet is we are going to solve the climate issue?
Yes, absolutely. We will solve the climate issue. It's just a question of when. And I'd say like the fundamental good of Tesla should be thought of as by how many years did Tesla accelerate the sustainable energy revolution? That's the fundamental historic good of Tesla. Not whether it would occur. It would occur anyway. But by how many years can Tesla accelerate that transition? Yeah, so most people in the world are operating under the false impression that there are too many people. This is not true. Earth could maintain a population many times the current level. And the birth rate has been dropping like crazy. And unfortunately, like we have these like ridiculous population estimates from the UN that need to be updated because they just don't make any sense. You can just look at, say, what was the birth rate last year, how many kids were born, multiply that by the life expectancy, and say, okay, that's how many people will be alive, in the future. And then say, is the trend for birth rate positive or negative? It's negative. So that's the best case, unless something changes with the birth rate. With respect to AI and robotics, I always approach these things with some trepidation because I certainly do not want to play a hand in anything that could potentially be harmful to humanity. Now, humanoid robots, they're clearly happening. You look at like Boston Dynamics, their demonstrations are better every year. So there will be humanoid robots. The rate of advancement of AI is very rapid. Even if Tesla stopped doing AI, I think we're still on a track to develop artificial general intelligence, meaning intelligence smarter than the smartest human.
Concretely, Optimus is going to be used in Tesla factories. That's one of the use cases. But what is the broader use case beyond Tesla?
Yeah, Optimus is a general purpose sort of worker droid. So the initial roles for Optimus would be in work that is repetitive, boring, dangerous, that kind of thing. Basically work that people don't want to do unless they're paid to do it. If you want to have a robot fit in and be able to do things that humans can do, it must be of roughly the same size and shape and capability. I think we'll have something pretty good at the prototype level this year, and it might be ready for at least a moderate volume production, towards the end of next year.
You said the potential is bigger than the potential of Tesla. If that's true, then
for cars, yeah.
Then it must be really a mass market product for our daily life.
Yeah, sure. Well, say like what is an economy? People get confused. Sometimes they think an economy is money. Money is a database for exchange of goods and services and for time shifting the exchange of goods and services. Money is a database. Money doesn't have power in and of itself. Like you can run the thought experiment of if you're trapped on a remote island, shipwrecked on an island, and you've got $1 trillion in a Swiss bank account. It's worthless. You'd rather have a can of soup. You can have all the Bitcoin in the world, and you're still going to starve. So the actual economy is goods and services. So then what limits the output of goods and services? That limiter is labor. Even capital is distilled labor. So the limiting factor for the economy is labor. And so if you address the limiting factor for the economy, then it's not clear that an economy in the traditional sense has any meaning anymore because you have no constraint on goods and services. The only things that will be missing are things that have artificial scarcity. So that where we decide to make it scarce, like a particular piece of art or a particular home in this exact location, something like that. There is a long-term mitigation to artificial intelligence, which is that we could effectively merge with artificial intelligence by improving the speed of interaction between our cortex and our tertiary layer, which is already silicon.
Could you imagine that one day we would be able to download our human brain capacity into a Optimus?
Yes, I think that is. I'm not saying this is. I think it is possible. I think to do that. It is possible.
Which would be a different way of eternal life, because we would also download our personalities into a body.
Yes, we could download the things that we believe make ourselves unique. Now, of course, if you're not in a body anymore, that there's definitely going to be some difference there, you know. So, but as far as preserving our memories, our personality, if you will, I think we could do that.
You have the vision that one day Starship could be able to get from A to B in 30 minutes all around the globe. Is that correct? And if so, what would the time frame for this? It's like a global super taxi. You can just go from San Francisco to Nairobi.
Yeah, I mean the landing will be loud. So you'd want to probably be connecting, cities that are next to oceans or seas, such that you can land maybe far enough offshore that the landing noise is not disturbing to people.
But coast to coast, that would be a realistic option.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like an ICBM, but change the option package from nuclear to landing. Delete the nuke, add landing.
You're not personally interested in living longer?
I mean, I don't think we should try to have people live for a very long time. It would cause ossification of society, because the truth is, most people don't change their mind; they just die. And so, if they don't die, they will be stuck with old ideas, and society won't advance. I think we already have quite a serious issue with the gerontocracy, where the leaders of so many countries are extremely old. Look, I mean, in the U.S., very, very ancient leadership, and it's just impossible to stay in touch with the people if you're, if you're like many generations older than them. For me, I don't know. I mean, I certainly would like to maintain health for a longer period of time, but I'm not afraid of dying. I think it will come as a relief. I mean, there's been many times where I expected to lose everything. Who starts a car company and a rocket company expecting them to succeed? Certainly not me. I thought they both had less than a 10% chance of success. And frankly, I wasn't wrong. Imagine trying to raise money for an electric car startup while General Motors is going bankrupt. I mean, people were angry that I even asked. If I go bankrupt, fine, whatever. I don't care.
So the question is, do you see any danger that one day not only big platforms like Google or Facebook could face much more rigid regulation, but that Elon Musk could be regulated because of being too big?
What?
Any areas?
I have too much power personally or something?
Well, I mean, if you build in many sectors that are absolutely crucial to society, very dominant.
See you on Mars, suckers. Just kidding.
That's the option then. Yeah. So one way is popularity, pleasure or liability for you?
Well, it makes it difficult to go buy a coffee at the corner store, that's for sure. So it's hard to go around places, I used to be able to just, go to the store or walk down the street, and now it's quite difficult to do that.
Is there anything that you most urgently want to achieve?
The pressing items in the short term are completing full self-driving, that we have full self-driving operating at a substantially safer level than humans. That consumes a lot of my mind. And then getting Starship to work, not just to get to orbit, but to achieve full and rapid reusability, which is really the holy grail of rocketry that is necessary for humanity to become a multi-planet species. Impossible is a strong word.
You don't like that word?
Well, it's a strong word. I sort of approach things from a physics standpoint, and the word impossible is, more or less banned in physics.
You are a multi-talent person. Is there any field of total incompetence?
I'm terrible at dancing.
Is freedom for you the most important value of the society?
No, I think not being dead is. There's a Maslow's hierarchy, Back in the old days, a good year would be a year where not that many people died of hunger, plague, not that many people froze to death, and not that many people were killed by the neighboring tribe.
What did COVID do to freedom in our society?
Well, I think freedom was severely restricted with COVID.
Do you think it's a long-term effect, or do you think we are going back to old norms?
Well, the jury's out on that front,
Are you worried?
Yeah, I think we should roll back government power that was massively increased in COVID. I think we're at this point, the tail end of it, or it's no longer a major concern, and so we need to actively roll back powers of government that were created during COVID.
Do you see any positive effects in the COVID pandemic?
I think there were many silver linings. The advancement of synthetic RNA was accelerated significantly because of COVID.
And it's going to help with cancer, allergies,
Yes,
bacterial
exactly.
diseases.
Yes. I mean, synthetic RNA is a revolution in medicine that most people are not aware of just how much of a revolution that is. I would say this is like medicine going from analog to digital.
What is your biggest fear?
Well, I think you have to say, like, what are the existential threats that humanity faces? I spent a lot of time talking about the birth rate thing, that might be the biggest single future of human civilization. Then there's artificial intelligence gone wrong is I think religious extremism is a concern.
What is your biggest hope?
My biggest hope is that humanity creates a self-sustaining city on Mars.
You said that you cannot be and don't want to be alone. I very much share that feeling.
Yeah.
Where does it come from?
I think it's just a natural human reaction. I mean, most people
A
don't.
lot of people are happy if they are alone.
I really? I think most people are not happy being alone.
Do you feel lonely?
I mean, there are times when I feel lonely, yes. But I mean, I think it's pretty basic. Like if I'm, say, working on the Starship rocket down at South Texas and I'm just staying in my little house by myself, especially if I forget my dog is not with me, then I feel quite lonely because I'm just in a little house by myself with not even a dog.
You have once said, if I'm not in love, I cannot be happy. Are you happy at the moment?
I think there's degrees of love, but certainly for one to be fully happy, I think you have to be happy in work and happy in love. I suppose I'm medium happy. There are degrees of happiness.
Can love for projects, for work, compensate love among people?
I think love of work, in my experience, can at best make one halfway happy.
Perhaps that's your biggest hope, to be really in love.
I have been in the past. I would be happy if humanity has a self-sustaining city on Mars, because then the probable lifespan of humanity is much greater. You know, I think we really just got this consciousness, like this little candle of consciousness, like a small light in the void, and we don't want that small candle in a vast darkness to be put out.
Hope you guys and girls have enjoyed the video. I'm not going to lie, these are an absolute pain in the ass to put together. But as I said, taking one for the team here. I know not everybody has the 50 minutes to sit down and watch the original. If you do, there is a link in the description. Just trying to save everybody a little bit of time without losing any context. If you appreciate the video and the effort, feel free to sign up to Patreon with the card in the corner or the link at the pinned comment, or browse the merch designs below. And by the way, just a quick heads up, submissions are currently open for the latest Patreon Q&A. So if you're already a Patreon member, don't forget to submit your question. I'll be recording this Q&A in the next day or two. I'm Stephen Mark Ryan, this is Solving the Money Problem, and I love you all. Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you enjoy these videos, there's a bunch of ways you can support the channel, access exclusive content and perks, and get some free stocks and crypto. Check out the links in the pinned comment below. You can also pick up some Tesla, Elon, and investment themed merch in the merch store. If you want to take it to the next level, join thousands of members on Patreon to gain exclusive access to over 100 Q&A videos, loads of exclusive content, exclusive access to my up-to-date 10-year Tesla stock price targets, and even access my Tesla valuation model at the investor support level and above. So check out the links in the pinned comment below, and thanks for your support. And if you're still watching, you're awesome. I read every single comment on this channel and I really appreciate your feedback. So if you've got any thoughts on today's video, questions, comments, or suggestions for a new video, let me know in the comments below. Check the cards on screen now to browse the merch store, join Patreon, or watch the next video.